This demonstration is about writing a one-paragraph essay. You will learn to structure it in such a way that it will be easy to write and easy to read. One-paragraph essays are useful in writing short answers, and sometimes they are useful when you insert them into an extended essay. In any case, even though you've written before, this should be helpful for you to clarify your ideas. In this demonstration, you're going to see the basic structure of a paragraph, the difference between a general topic sentence or a thesis and that of a divided thesis, and what will work best with your essay so that you can make a decision when you write about whether you want to have a divided thesis or a general thesis. We're going to show you how you can use transitions, how necessary it is to make a specific claim, and how important it is to have support sentences to prove that what you say is true. You also have a need for a clincher sentence. That is your closing sentence. So let's go on. The first one-paragraph essay presented here is a descriptive one, and it demonstrates how to use a divided thesis. Here the teacher has asked the student to characterize a person in a story. The second essay is a one-paragraph comparison essay, comparing two different writers' views about self-actualization. This is how your one-paragraph essay will be structured. You will begin with either a general thesis, which is very broad and doesn't have any divisions for you to concern yourself with, or with a divided thesis, which is very specific. It has the main idea in 3 parts. It gives the reader and yourself, the writer, a sort of outline to follow. Then, because of the divided thesis, you can have 3 transitions and claims, which refer to your main idea or ideas in your topic sentence. You will have at least one support sentence for each claim. Therefore, the structure is your introduction, which is your topic sentence, 3 transitions, 3 claims, at least 3 support sentences, plus a conclusion, and that equals 1 paragraph. For this essay, you will have your topic sentence in 3 parts. Again, 3 transitions and claims, each followed by a support sentence, at least 1 support sentence, and a clincher sentence. Later on, you can write them with a different structure, but for now we will keep to this structure because it is very simple to write and to understand. These are some words you should remember. Transitions. They allow your ideas to flow in a coherent manner. They give a signal to the reader that you're going in a different direction. You can have transitions to show sequence, cause-effect, comparison-contrast, space, time. There is a section in one of the handouts that you have that has transitions for every purpose. Claims refer to the topics you're going to talk about and which you mention in your topic sentence or thesis. These are the claims you make that you're trying to prove. Your support sentences support the claims that you made, and they prove your point because you either take something from the literature that you're supposed to be writing about or the facts. The support sentences are the proof of the facts that you claimed. And then, of course, the clincher sentence, which is the ending, which tells the reader, there, I showed you. This is what I proved. But you restate it in a different way from the topic sentence. These are the 2 different types of topic sentences. The first one is a general topic sentence. Notice that I have not been very specific here. I'm allowing myself some leeway. In his popular novel, Tom Sawyer, Mark Twain has created a portrait of an extraordinary boy. then of course I'm going to prove why he's extraordinary. In the second one, the specific thesis, I outline exactly the three things I'm going to talk about. In his popular novel, Tom Sawyer, Mark Twain has created a portrait of an idealized, but definitely real boy, who is sometimes naive, that's the first thing, but always resourceful, that's number 2, and brave, that's number 3. So now I have given 3 roads that I'm going to go through, 3 things that I'm going to prove. And this is very easy to do and very easy to follow. Your reader finds it easy to follow you, and you will find it easy to keep to it. Now we're going to deal with the first transition and claim. Because this is the first thing we're mentioning, and remember we're referring to the first thing in your divided thesis, which was that he is naive, we start with the first transition. First, because of his youth and frontier upbringing, and this is the claim, Tom doesn't always seem to understand how the real world operates. So now you have a transition first, and then you have the claim that refers to the fact that he was naive. He doesn't always seem to understand how the real world operates. And this is your support sentence for that transition and claim. Because he's so naive, right? This is your support. He believes that warts can be removed with incantations, that if he likes a girl they should be engaged, and that dead cats and doorknobs are valuable possessions. Now you have enough support here to prove that he's naive and he doesn't know how the real world operates. But you have given specific details, and that's what a support sentence is. Remember that in the second part of your topic sentence you mentioned that he is resourceful. So we have a transition. However, in spite of some misguided beliefs, and that's a contrast to the fact that he was naive, you're claiming that Tom is always thinking up creative solutions to tough problems. So you have transition and claim too. Now, since you claim that he was resourceful, and now you have to prove it with a support sentence or 2. He uses reverse psychology to convince his friends to whitewash the fence for him. He leads the boys from the island to witness their own funeral, thus avoiding punishment. And he successfully rescues Becky and himself from the cave. Now that's resourceful, and anybody can see that you're right, because you have given good support to your claim. Now remember that the third thing you said was that he was brave. All right, you're going to say it in a different way, with a transition, most importantly, because you have been leading up to the most important things. Most importantly, when it really counts, and this is your claim, Tim is unfailingly courageous. Now you have taken a stand, and you're going to prove it with a support sentence. And here's how you prove he was brave. He testifies in court against Injun Joe in order to save Muff Potter. He remains calm during the storm on the island. And finally, when lost in the cave, he comforts Becky, saves the candles, and doesn't give up hope. That's good proof. Now remember that you've been told that the clincher sentence somehow restates the topic sentence. You don't have to restate it word for word, as long as it implies everything you said. And notice how this person dealt with it. Tom Sawyer seems like a real boy because he has all the admired attributes that young readers see in themselves and in their best friends. And that covers everything that you mentioned. Now let's go over the objectives that I just talked about. First of all, I wanted you to understand how a divided thesis will help you. It makes it easier for you to follow through with what you're trying to say. Understand the importance of transitions. They give you a signal. Remember when you had the however, and then most importantly, and your reader will follow you. It's like taking him by the hand. Another objective was to understand the need for strong claims that refer to the divisions in your divided thesis. Without a strong claim, the person doesn't know what you're trying to prove. They're not repetitious. Remember that I use different words to refer to the words that you used in the topic sentence. Also, you were to understand the importance of good support sentences to prove your point. It's important that you explain why you believe what you do. You can't just make any old claim and not give a support to it, because people won't believe you or they can't see what you see. This way you can convince them that it does exist. And then last of all, to understand how a good closing sentence can enhance the meaning. Here you were trying to prove that Tom is a real boy. That he's just like all boys, kind of resourceful, kind of brave, but sometimes naive. He doesn't know what he's doing, he's not mature yet, but he's still a real boy. And that's what you have a good, strong, one-paragraph sentence. You have said much in very little. How can you plan well to write a one-paragraph essay? The first thing you have to do is to brainstorm and jot down the ideas as they come into your head. As soon as the teacher gives you an assignment, anything you can think of that might go into that essay, just write down. Don't write full sentences, just write words, ideas. After you've done that, begin to evaluate what you have written down. Sift through the ideas that you wrote. Categorize them. In other words, some ideas can go together. You could call those ideas A, ideas B, ideas C, if you're writing an essay that you want to have three main ideas. Discard the unimportant material. Just cross it out. Then outline with a bare bones structure. You don't have to make a formal outline. Just put the ideas together in little groups. Then find some transitions to string your ideas together. And again, look at the handout on transitions. Then add good claims to each one of these transitions. Finally, find good support material to add to your support sentences. Then it's like stringing everything together, and then you start to proofread. After you write, it is very important to proofread. Use any of the materials given to you to proofread, the structure, the mechanics, the style. Your teacher has given you quite a bit in the form of handouts, textbook material to look at, and lectures so that you know what is important or what the teacher is looking for or what good writing is all about. For instance, good sentences, good ideas, good structure, good vocabulary, etc. If you see any specific defects in your writing, for instance, if you keep making the same mistakes over and over again, ask somebody to help you proofread and look for those specific errors that you always make. When you find those errors, use your grammar book and take notes on those kinds of errors that you make. That will save you time the next time. And then rewrite if you're not satisfied. Practice to become effective and efficient. What do I mean by efficient? You can be effective and have an A essay, but if you're efficient, you'll write it faster and still get that A. That's what efficiency is all about. And the more you practice, the more efficient you become, because you can spot your errors more easily. Now for the second example of one paragraph, I'm giving you the comparison one. We start with the title. The title is very important. 3 Basic Human Needs, a comparison of McCullers and Maslow's views. Now notice that I'm narrowing it down. They're only talking about 3 basic human needs, and they are only 2 people talking about it. If I had just said 3 basic human needs, I would need a book to write about it. Or if I would write a comparison of McCullers and Maslow's views, you would need a big essay. But I've narrowed it down to 3 basic human needs that 2 people are writing about. I'm going to give you 2 different essays. The first essay comes from a divided thesis. So we start. Although Virginia Quinn draws heavily upon the philosophy of Abraham Maslow, while Carson McCullers expresses her own personal observations and beliefs, they both agree upon 3 basic essential needs of mankind: the need for survival, the need to be part of a group, and the need for self-esteem. Notice that I have the transition, the claim, and the support with different colors. First, the transition. First. Now the claim. Quinn presents Maslow's claim that we must first satisfy our survival needs before any other needs are manifest. And here is the support. McCullers also reflects this need when she describes a baby lying in its crib, its thoughts urgently directed toward its first need, the sustenance of milk to satisfy its hunger for survival. And this proves that the first of Maslow's claim is like McCullers' claim of the first need. This part refers to the second part of your introduction or your topic sentence. First, we can begin with the transition, continuing up the hierarchy of needs, and that's leading your reader to follow you. The claim is that Quinn presents Maslow's next step, the need for love and belonging, and McCullers continues in the same vein. How do I prove that? She recalls the young girl and member of the wedding who declares her wish to belong to something more powerful than the weak, lonely self. McCullers describes love as the bridge that fulfills the need to belong, because it opens a new relation between the personality and the world. My third transition is Quinn finally mentions, knowing that that's the last one of the 3. And the claim is mentions Maslow's theory of the need for esteem of others and for self-actualization, noting that at this level the respect of others is part of our feeling of achievement. And this is my proof. McCullers implies the same ideas, but also believes many Americans, in trying so hard to achieve a self-identity, often experience loneliness because of their individualistic nature. Now I had to do a little contrast here, because she does believe something just a little different. So you mentioned it as part of your support. And the conclusion is that although Maslow's theories are expressed differently from those of McCullers, and he does not mention loneliness, the reader can still understand the hierarchy of needs is, indeed, a search for survival and self-identity. In other words, I've proved that both authors, one who quotes Maslow and one who quotes her own beliefs, are in agreement that there are hierarchies of needs. For this second essay, a comparison essay, the title is Two Views on Man's Search for Identity. The topic sentence is a general one, it's not specific. In the essays Loneliness, an American Malady by Carson McCullers and Motivation and Needs by Virginia Quinn, the authors portray similar ideas on how man progresses in his search for identity. Because it's not specific, I have greater leeway here. The first thing I present as proof is Maslow's idea of the hierarchies. I begin with a transition. First, Quinn explains Abraham Maslow's theories of a pyramid of hierarchies, beginning with man's need for survival and ascending to the highest peak of the pyramid, self-actualization. She explains that each person experiences these steps through his or her own life, beginning at birth until the time of death. We then talk about McCullers' beliefs. McCullers' beliefs correlate with those of Maslow. First, she talks about the needs of children and then the needs as they grow older. She then reaches the last of the hierarchies, explaining that no motive among the complex ricochets of our desires and rejection seems stronger or more enduring than the will of the individual to claim his identity and belong. From infancy to death, the human being is obsessed by these dual motives. The third thing both talk about is the acknowledgement of need. So we continue. Both authors believe that human beings need to feel acknowledged and accepted by others to reach self-actualization. Love and esteem of others is the answer to the need for belonging. However, both Quinn, citing Maslow's beliefs, and McCullers stress that each person is different and needs distinct levels of affirmation to feel as though he or she is truly accepted. Both seem to agree that only after one has reached the level of feeling as if he belongs and has the approval of others can he begin to feel self-esteem and the capacity to aim for the highest level of self-actualization.